Hid for a few weeks before it came to me. I had to choose my heart, heal and get free. She said life's easy, pain comes with living. Surround myself with everything God's given. It's time to change my routine, create a new scene that feels like an unreachable dream.
Good morning, everybody. Hello to you all, and welcome back to Mentally How Are You? I'm your host, Neena Lock, here to discuss all things mental healing. Last week, we had a powerful show. We explored journaling for children with author Stacey Montgomery of Believe and Be Brave, and as promised, Mentally How Are You has purchased copies of those journals and will provide them to 6 wonderful children. We just need for parents to write in requesting the journal, and it will be on a first come, first served basis. So please email us today. With the kids being back in school, this is going to be important to follow up with from last week's episode. I hope that every parent can watch today. And again, just in case you don't have our email, it is mentallyhowareyou@gmail.com. So again, you guessed it, we are talking about youth and their wellness and mental health because of last week's episode. To start, I'll say that mental health challenges among the youth have become more common and are increasing. With growing outside sources such as social media to the pressures from school and purpose in life, awareness is crucial because it is the first step to helping and addressing concerns early, which can significantly impact our youth's overall well-being and future. Today, I believe it's important to point out areas in which mental health concerns have increased and ways to speak with your child about those concerns. Depression and anxiety have increased overall, actually throughout the nation, and this means an increase in our youth as well. The same symptoms a parent or a guardian can experience from these conditions appear in a child or an adolescent as well. Increased sadness, loss of interest in activities, changes with sleep and appetite. Those are some of the symptoms that we may see. Currently, what we're seeing increase in symptoms with children is excessive worrying, especially about things that they just simply cannot control, difficulty concentrating in classes, high irritability, and that feeling of never getting anything right. So many of our children are experiencing, the desire to get out and to do or create new things, however, feeling defeated at first attempts. I think we can all agree that social media has encouraged some of these feelings, many in which may not even be symptoms of an actual condition, but responses from too much screen time and comparison. Comparison is the current, shall I say, enemy we need to dismantle for our kids right now. So many of our teens specifically, but children are suffering as well from what I call unrealistic comparison. Unrealistic comparison is a flawed mental assessment where a person compares their traits, their abilities, or achievements to others in a way that is, not objective or fair, often leading to negative feelings within, a distorted self-perception, or false beliefs about themselves overall. My clinical recommendation would be to decrease screen time, sorry kiddos, and access to those screens. I understand for some this can be a struggle. However, we are in a state in which suicide is the second leading cause of death for ages 10 to 24. Yes, I said 10. Our youth account for 15% of all suicides, and that means over 7,000 lives are lost, just children. Like I said, that gap 10 to 24, 7,000 lives have been lost over the past couple of years. So again, decreasing screen time and who and what your child has access to, or who and what has access to them, is vital to review and make necessary adjustments. I must also note that we have to go further than just parental controls and codes on devices, because some of our kiddos can crack those things now. So go a little bit further, check in with those devices, speak to your child, make sure that you look over things and that they're not cracking any codes or they're not going where they shouldn't go on devices, or even with, our accounts, that Netflix, Hulu, all of those things that they're able to have access to, but there should be a code or a screen that they have to get to first in order to watch whatever they want to watch. Just be sure that you're paying attention and you're checking in with your children concerning these things. Alongside the concerns from depression or anxiety are topics like body image and self-esteem. Our previous episode is a great resource to help promote positivity with these topics. And I would add, being sure to engage in healthy activities as a family. Make these matters focus more on health rather than good, bad, negative, or positive. This looks like taking a walk or a bike ride together as a family in an effort to focus on treating your body with care. So gear their minds towards treating themselves with care and building within rather than focusing on what's good, perfect, or bad, or positive or not. Just this is what healthy looks like. Explain what healthy looks like to our children. Another topic of concern is confusion about relationships and identity. In this area, we are seeing the need to teach children what a friend really is. Again, social media and I believe also reality TV have distorted the view of friendship. So take time to review the definition of friendship, what it should look like, and what makes them healthy. Discuss how they would like to show up as a friend and what they expect from a friend as well. It may also benefit children to go back to that, age-old question of who am I? Ask that question to your children. Have them write about it. Have them journal about it. That question should come back into our lives, but allow me to offer a slight adjustment. Ask them who they are, but also ask them who they would like to be, and teach how this can shift as time goes on due to life experiences and growing all together. Let's not forget many children struggle with dealing with trauma and grief as well. Just as we deal with it, it trickles down to our kids. I cannot stress the need for counseling before anything else with a child. Speak to your children about what it means to go to therapy and what they should, will, and may discuss with a therapist. Even if they don't attend individual therapy, allow for group therapy or family therapy with the family when affordable. I would say that it's very necessary to promote counseling and promote expression of self with our kids right now, because that is how they'll grow to be healthy adults that are needed within the world. And of course, I have to touch on, as of 2022, we have been seeing a rise of ADHD diagnoses in youth, and it's between ages 3 to 17. And that's probably over 7 million children that have been diagnosed and reporting symptoms of difficulty focusing, hyperactivity, impulsive behaviors, being inattentive and acting without thinking. It is at the highest recommendation to, 1, complete testing to be sure of the diagnoses. I know that we get caught up in just reading everything, or, AI, ChatGPT, Google, and we like to Google and research things. Not saying that any of the information that you would get is completely wrong. However, there is a process to this. You wouldn't just go onto Google to see if you had an illness, a medical illness, right? You would go to a doctor. Even if you got information online, you would still go to see a doctor so that you could be treated. So be sure to endure testing for your child to make sure that this is an actual diagnosis. 2, I would create a routine for my child to follow daily. That's the most important thing. It's one of the strongest ways to defeat ADHD symptoms. 3 would be to decrease screen time and swap out unhealthy options to healthy options when concerning eating. Now, yes, this hasn't been completely proven, but studies have shown that when you switch your diet up, you experience less symptoms from a lot of diagnoses, but specifically for ADHD, you experience less symptoms from them because certain sugars and foods add to those symptoms of hyperactivity, being impulsive, or not being able to think clearly. So a diet rich in whole foods may be beneficial for overall brain health and function. And I'll just say overall that now is the time to realign with family nights, family dinners at the table, with conversations about, our day, and pull in the new even. Watch a video or two of who they follow or who they subscribe to and discuss their interest in it. Hone in on factors like what they will need to thrive in life, such as creating routines, how to make a plan, ways to provide self-care, and most of all, talk to your child about how they feel or what they think. I always tell parents to do this with listening ears to understand. It's not always about guiding Yes, of course, you're raising your child, so you will help your kiddo grow and guide them in healthy directions. But there are many times in which they simply need to be heard. Allow them to talk and express what they think about in a day and provide the feedback at a later time. Just make sure they have a safe space where they're able to come to you and share before they go to someone else and share. Moving on to pop psych versus clinical psychology, I think that we need to take the time to debunk and dismantle a lot of myths when it comes to talking to our children about mental health concerns. So often we may brush children off, explaining to them that they do not have concerns or issues, they don't struggle, and more. While a child does not experience adulthood stressors, that does not mean they don't face anything. My friend, it is absolutely false that young people are too young to experience real mental health problems. In fact, I challenge every parent who is able to identify and understand current, inner child issues. Like right now, it's very a big thing we're hearing online where people are discussing and going over, I've discovered that I'm stuck at a certain age because my inner child never grew, and now I'm trying to nurture that and move forward and grow. If you can recognize that, I think that it's time for you to recognize that many mental health conditions begin in childhood. So it is very much necessary for us to sit with our children. Like I said, listen to them, hear them out. Even if we know as an adult, like this isn't a major concern, for by the time they reach a certain age, they'll forget about it or it'll just be a part of their history. We still need to make sure to process those concerns with them so that it doesn't stick with them, so that they don't, land stuck at a certain age and now they have to do all of this work to get to their current space. Okay, so it's absolutely false that children cannot experience mental health concerns. They do, and in fact, a lot of our problems begin in childhood because of what we see or because we're unable to express. Another thing is the statement of they're just being dramatic or moody. It's normal teen behavior, or even they're just attention seeking. To this, I say mood swings can be a part of adolescence, right? However, if it disrupts daily life, it is not just a phase. Also, if you believe a child is seeking attention, you have to ask yourself why or what attention they need. If we talk about it, is another idea. If we talk about it, it will put ideas in their heads. Taking this time to talk about it will not put ideas in their heads. Talking about issues does not cause them. It helps prevent a crisis and allows the space to educate and teach our children. So we must take the time to talk about it. We must take the time to listen. And it doesn't mean that now they'll have a problem. And in fact, with everything that is going on nowadays, I'm pretty sure they're hearing it elsewhere. So it would be better for it to come from you as their parent, the person who loves them and is trying to make sure that they're okay and doing the best that they could do in life. So talking about it won't create a problem. It'll just make sure that it's decreased and dismantled. Another thing is if they're doing well in school and activities, then they must be fine. There is a such thing as high functioning illness. So high functioning youth can still struggle internally. Many will mask symptoms to avoid judgment. So just remember that success in one area doesn't equal mental wellness. So we still have to check in and be sure to just make sure everything is okay. Because sometimes we have kind of those silent kiddos, and they're the ones that are struggling the most at times because of a lot of racing thoughts, or again, like I spoke to earlier, thinking about things that they simply cannot control or would not ever be able to control. These things are the things that they're not saying out loud, but they need to be able to express. So check on those kiddos who are high achieving or high excelling as well. Now for our mentally how are you question and email, let's see what it is today. I am always tired. Even when I've had enough sleep, I still can go back to bed. My days are normally long and I'm sluggish. I try to drink coffee to stay awake, but it does not always help. I'm not sad or nervous about anything, and I feel pretty good about life. Does this mean I'm depressed or I have a problem I don't know about? Okay, this is very vague, all right? I will say that if you're feeling extremely fatigued, if you're always tired, if you're sluggish, and your mood and your attitude is okay, and there's no actual problem, one, I would tell you that there needs to be a shift somewhere, right? So maybe you're staying up too late and going to bed at a certain time when really you need to go to bed earlier to get the rest that you need, and then wake up earlier. Or maybe you need to add something to your routine, like a walk in the morning or a walk at night, that will help with body movement, helps adjust and realign and regulate where we're not able to or where we can't identify. So, Pilates, some type of exercise, like I said, just walking, treadmill here or there may help your body realign to where it realizes, like, hey, I should be alert, awake, and up at this time rather than continuously sluggish throughout the day. The main thing, though, is that when I hear the term sluggish or always tired, I'm concerned about diet. Right? So you need to change your diet, I would say. Whatever you're eating, let's say you're taking in a lot of snacks, you're eating a lot of sugar, you're drinking sugary drinks, you said coffee, so I imagine something's being placed inside of that coffee that is high in sugar. I would say that your diet may need to be looked at and rearranged. If you have sugar cravings, maybe switch over to a lot of fruit, right? Eating fruit daily. Have healthier meals where it's more green items added in, where you have more vegetables added into your meal, but a diet change may be needed just because of the sluggish part that's there. And then I would also say, even though you've evaluated yourself and you feel like, I'm okay, I'm okay in every other area, I don't feel a certain way, maybe ask those around you, like, hey, are you noticing a change in me at all? Do you see, like, is my attitude cranky? Am I irritable at times? I'm just trying to make sure because I'm feeling this way, and so I want to see if it's something more and see what feedback you receive. Of course, ask trusted individuals, right? Or people that see you and your daily routine, your daily schedule. Ask them so that you can get adequate, like, information. But then I, of course, last but not least, will suggest that you see a counselor, right? Go in, see a counselor, meet with your medical team, meet with providers, and make sure that there's nothing, one, medically wrong, because that could be a concern as well. And sometimes it's not even a huge concern. It's not, this drastic diagnosis. It may be something as simple as, hey, you know what, you're allergic to this, or your body can't handle this type of food anymore, so you need to change it. But see your medical provider, and then also speak with a counselor and go and talk about your symptoms, your mood, what you do in a day. And again, that could even be something simple and not a huge diagnosis. It may just simply be, you need to switch up and create a better schedule for your day, or a different routine for days that will be long. But it sounds like you need to check in with somebody for sure. And the number one thing outside of that I would do is check my diet. Okay, I hope that helps. Now, before we leave, I would like to acknowledge the concern ringing out from many parents regarding the new law mandating mental health screenings for youth grades 3 through 12. Currently, the new law has not been implemented. I want to say that first. And there is not much information, but I will give you what I know as I continuously receive information. So this new law is now in effect, however, is planned to be implemented in the 2027-2028 school year. The State Board of Education has until September 1st, 2026, so next year, to provide schools with guidance and policies of how to implement these screenings. Now, currently those are the only facts provided, right? As I receive updates, like I said, I'll give them to you. I would like to point out, though, the need for parents to review the whole plan of how to implement the screenings, which this plan is necessary. These are screenings and not testing. And so I think it's important for parents to kind of read through all of the information that will be provided as it continues to come. Pay attention to news reports and news stations as they put out information about it, so that you can read the language in this new law. The language seems to me to be the most important thing here. As I said, they are stating that these are mental health screenings and not mental health testing. So there is a difference between mental health screenings and psychological testing. testing. Testing is completed to determine a mental health diagnosis or condition, and screenings determine symptoms or the possibility of mental health concerns, in which could lead to, the need for further testing, but it's just a screening. So think about when you go to a doctor's visit. They now have mental health screenings attached to your paperwork. The most common one is normally 9 questions, and it's to get a simple but quick read on your mental state. So when you take that test, it's very basic. It's like, how are you feeling in a day? Normally, do you feel this way? Normally, do you feel that way? And you're rating it on a scale, I think, from 0 to 5, I think is what I want to say. When you do that screening, if this is the same type of screening that they're given to children when this is implemented, then you'll have a view of what it looks like. That's what it is. But I want us to just be on alert and pay attention that right now I want every parent to try their best to inhale and exhale, take some deep breaths, and calm down, because we don't know exactly what's going to be provided right now. And like I said, it's not a lot of information being given currently, outside of the fact that this is going to be now implemented for these grades 3 through 12 in public schools only. But they're going to continue to give out information, and I'll continue to provide it to you, and we'll determine what exactly it is. If I'm able to even go through guidelines and show you how it would look, how it would be, or even set up a mock kind of interview on the show and show you what the screening looks like, then I'll do that as well. But for right now, because we don't have any information, I think let's just take a pause. Again, they have an entire year to go over the guidelines and how it will look, what they will do, what they will provide, and then it'll be implemented into the next school year. Hopefully that helps everybody. For your wellness in 60 seconds, here is something called the psychological sigh. Some may say the physiological sigh. This is a tool used to help reduce stress and anxiety and improve mood. I think it's going to be very important for you to have your children use this throughout the school year, just, with heavy schoolwork, homework. If they're engaged in activities, this will be a great coping skill for them to use. It involves taking 2 short breaths, quick inhales through the nose, and then followed by a longer exhale through the mouth, which mimics a natural sigh, like a okay? So we're going to do it together. I am going to sit up right in my chair. Whenever you're doing a breathing exercise, unless you are told different or otherwise, you should always be sitting upright in a chair for it, okay? Just because that helps the breath flow through your body. So again, 2 quick inhales through your nose, but you're going to catch the second one. You're going to inhale, and then you're going to act as if you're going to allow the air out, but you won't. You'll catch it, and then we'll sigh to let the actual breath out, okay? It goes like this. You feel it in your body. I had to take a minute because you feel everything come out. So I'll do it again. You take in a breath. And you allow everything to exhale. So it'll feel like you're holding your breath in the second one because you are a little bit, but then you just release everything. Instead of a slow sigh out, you're going to let it all fall off your shoulders, fall off your back, fall off of you, right? So one more time. I pray that this helps you today when you get upset, when you're agitated, if you get stuck in a moment and you are irritated with something, or just after a long day, sit back in a nice chair, recline, and do this at least, let's say, for a set of 10 until you are fully relaxed. If you need to repeat the cycle, repeat it, but hopefully that helps you. That's your wellness in 60 seconds. I want to thank you all for sitting with me on this episode of Mentally How Are You? It is my hope that you are leaving more stable than when you came in, and I'll see you next Friday. Bye, everybody.
No judgment, just love, so I can be me. I'm tired of hearing it's okay not to be okay. Just want the dark days to go away. Mentally, how are you? How are you? Yeah, I know it's hard, but you can get well if you want to.